topics that are going to keep us here for a minimum an hour plus. No, obviously this is normally a shorter show. We're going to look to, try to get that 75, 80 minute. By 120, we're going to be out of here. I got something personal to do that I've already told the guys. But listen, folks, we're going to be covering 2 hot button topics, one of which is going to be mid-gen refresh. That seems to be the talk of the town, obviously, because, well, Sony hasn't officially announced that there's going to be a PlayStation 5 Pro, but everyone else is talking about it. And, I mean, do we need it? I don't know, but that's not the question we're going to be asking. The question we're going to be asking is, does the Xbox community think that we need one? And is it a mistake for Microsoft not to respond when this eventually happens, which is rumored for holiday of 2024? And of course, well, you saw this, you saw the thumbnail. We're going to be getting into our favorite franchises that we want to come back from Activision once this deal is signed. I would imagine that in the next week or two, this deal is going to be sewn up. Everyone's going to have approval around the world. Microsoft and Activision are going to sign this bad boy, and we're going to be on our merry way to potentially Sega. But those are the 2 topics we're going to get into. And of course, I want to start in with someone that's making his debut. You've seen him on Twitter. He's actually had a couple of different handles. You might know him personally. I think he's an upcoming streamer for sure. Someone you definitely need to check out. The Dusty, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
What up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? How's everybody feeling? How you doing, Boom?
Not bad. Yeah, hot as H in New Rochelle, New York. And we've just cracked 100. So I'm not happy about that. Yeah, it's going to be next 3 days are going to be upwards of have heat indexes of almost 110. So yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, in Cali, because I'm a Cali boy. It's hot right now. Our weather was a bit back and forth, but now it's just straight heat everywhere, which is as it should be in Cali. But just the way the weather has been going back and forth, it's been throwing me off just a little bit. So it's also been really humid too the last couple of days. So yeah, it's been gross. It's been a little
not good, ladies and gentlemen. Well, listen, you know what? Listen, you have AC, stay in the AC. Shut all the lights. As you can see, it's dark here. Yeah, all lights are off except for the AC is running.
Except for the RGB, but yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And if you're wondering, folks, this is Dead Island 2. I bought it upon its release for its $89 special edition. And I never got around to playing it because, well, that's life. And this game is freaking awesome. I mean, for a game that has gone through as many hands of developers over the course of this game took 8 or 9 years to finally release. It's really good. Like, it literally is so good. It does not have any right to be this good. If you are a Dying Light fan, if you like the other Dead Islands, this is a must play. I would love to see. This is the type of game that I think would be perfect for Xbox Game Pass. It's had its releases. It did very well. It got reviewed very well. It's been out there. There's no real movement for it now, I would imagine. This would be a perfect game to drop into Game Pass, especially in the summer months when there's not a lot. But check it out if you like what you're seeing. Again, folks, it's gory. There is a lot of blood. There's pieces flying all over the place. If you have small kids, don't let them watch this because A, it's gross, and B, it's violent. So, C Money, what's up, brother? It's like you're coming home. You're here, there, and everywhere. Love what you do with the family, but we're happy to have you back on Double Barrel Gaming. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me back on. Yeah, it's been it's so wild because it was so hectic with all like the ABK stuff that was going on, and it was like this barrage of like news and emails and all this leak stuff. And then now things have settled a little bit, so this week's kind of been pretty calm, pretty chill. So it's good. It's a good time. I'm excited. We got a couple of fun topics to talk about, so I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
I need this game. I need this game.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. There's so many things you can do. Mind you, that now the weapons, they start with just the white writing, which those are like the starter weapons. I found a bunch of the green ones. I found a couple of blue ones. Some of the powers are great. Like the drop kick thing that you can do. You run, you sprint, and then you drop kick them. I'm wearing a cowboy suit. You can't see. I got a red cowboy hat on. It's crazy. Like it's just a fun game. The story is really good. You have all
this would be
these
perfect for Game Pass. Yeah,
dude, it literally is so perfect. But look, we are waiting for Mr. Badbit to join us. He is running behind. We will get him in here. But let's jump right into the first topic. And the first topic is one that is been making the round. It's the hot button topic, if you will, Dusty. Mid-gen refresh. Now, a lot of people consider that to be like a bunch of dirty words because, well, you spent 500 or even 550 on your PS5 and your Series X, and obviously you spent 300 and change on your Series S. The question is, do we actually need it? Well, Sony seems to think that they do. Now, why is that? Well, because the PlayStation 5 is not a lot less powerful than the Xbox Series X, but it does not do everything that the Series X does. And to be fair, the Series X is still not doing some of the things that were promised. So for the PlayStation community, they want the ray tracing. They want all of the bells and whistles. So a lot of people are going to try and jump into this. It is a possibility that this console is going to be $600. I don't know that for sure. It's just speculation. If the chip price can drop in the next year, maybe you see a price drop for the PlayStation 5 regular and you see the Pro come out for $550. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure that's what Sony wants. They're going to sell a bunch of them. I'm going to be honest with you. For me, I don't necessarily know if I'm day one for it because I barely use my PlayStation 5 now. I play for only first party stuff. And other than that, I don't touch it. But Dusty, the question that I really want to, sink our teeth into is the fact that there are two subsets of the Xbox community. Like always, it's usually a split one way or the other. And there are half of the community that seems to think it's going to be a big miss if Microsoft doesn't respond to Sony's mid-gen refresh as they did with the Xbox Series, the Xbox One X, and the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4 Pro. I personally think that the Series X that we have is very capable. I really want to see Microsoft first party put this console through its paces and really show us why we don't need one. But there is another subset of the community, and I've seen the tweets out there, folks, that suggest that again, two camps. One doesn't want it because they don't want to spend any additional money. They spent their 500. They think the system is capable, and the other side is like, well, if Microsoft doesn't do this, they're gonna lose something. They're gonna lose market share or mind share. Where do you where do you fall in on this?
Well, I was just telling the chat it's crazy being on this side of the chat this time. So hello everybody. But as far as the topic of a mid-gen refresh goes, I'm kind of two minds. Okay. But the mind that is with the community of needing a mid-gen refresh, my mind isn't exactly the same. So I'll start with that one. I kind of expected there to be one just because, that I just thought that was the process. I really didn't pay it any more attention than just normally thinking like at some point they're going to do a mid-gen refresh. There will be a PS5 Pro, Xbox will do something. When do I think that'll happen? I thought probably sometime around like because of COVID and lockdown 2025. And then we would get new consoles around 2028 going into 2029. But that's just kind of where I'm at with the community side of it that wants a mid-gen refresh. I'm not really super like we need it, just because I have a Series S and I'm enjoying the S out of it. I love my Series S. and I don't just game on it. I use it for, as a home entertainment unit, and I
Nice.
love it, and that's exactly how I use the 1S. And now my youngest stepdaughter has the 1S. So, excuse me. So that's kind of my mind on it. I'm just like, oh, I thought it was going to happen. If it doesn't, I mean, the Series X seems like a very powerful device. All my friends that have a Series X say that it's powerful. Excuse me, that it could have improvements here and there, different features, softwares, bugs, and all of that. Same thing with the Series S, but that kind of happens with any device over time. So for me, do I think we need a mid-gen refresh? I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, it would be cool. I mean, if you think about it, the Series S technically is getting a mid-gen refresh because of the Series S Black, Series S Midnight. You know what I mean?
You get 1 terabyte of storage on that bad boy as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and who's to say they haven't improved some other part of the internals? I don't know. Maybe they haven't, but I have to look into it. But Series S is getting a quote unquote technically a mid-gen refresh. So for the Series X, it would be nice to see a mid-gen refresh, but it would also be nice. Hey, Mr. Badbit's finally
There he
here.
is.
Yes.
Joe, what's going on, brother?
Hello.
What's
Can you
up,
hear
brother?
me all good?
Yeah.
Yep.
We
All
heard.
right, that's
We
what I want
heard.
to. That's what I want to hear. Hi,
What's up,
everybody.
brother?
Hello.
Hey. But so I don't know if we need a mid-gen refresh for the Series X. I think it's a great console. But then again, I don't personally have one myself, so I haven't tested it out. I don't have my own use case on it to be able to say, well, this is what I think they need to improve on the Series X. But I will say this though, because Sony is doing a mid-gen refresh, if Xbox is not going to, they need to respond with something. Is that something Project Keystone? Maybe. And maybe that's why it hasn't released yet. Because maybe in one parallel universe, they are not doing a mid-gen refresh, but they are revamping and reworking Project Keystone to be something more than just some USB dongle. Yep. I don't know. So that's kind of my take on it. It would be cool to see. Do I think we need it? Honestly, are we fully utilizing the power of the Series X right now? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we've had some glimpses of like great graphics that you'd find on a PC, but you're not really that, at least not so much for the Xbox. Now that's coming. You're going to see that in Starfield. You're going to see that in Motorsport. You're going to see that in other first-party games. I'm right there with you. Like I said, I love hardware. I'm hoping that the next whatever it is, the Series XX, the XL, I don't know, is
XL.
going to be something that we've never seen Microsoft do before. It's funny, we talked about a handheld hybrid like a Switch on Monday.
Love that idea that you brought out there, bro. That's such a good idea.
We're gonna because I
can I say something real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
So the other day when you mentioned that, I forgot who it was in chat, but they were like, no, I don't know. And I'm not like, bashing on them or anything, because if you don't see the idea, you don't see the idea. But right. When you were describing it, at first I was like, okay, he's got me. And then you kept explaining it and I was like, yeah, because that's pretty much what like a dockable Series S handheld or Series S handheld that becomes a Series S or a Series X when you dock it is pretty much essentially what you're doing when you dock an Ally. You know what I'm saying? Or when you dock a Switch, or when you dock a Steam Deck, you get, or even like an Aya Neo device, you get more power out of it and better just quality all around. My brain is like all over the place. Just, better all around when you're docked and when you're plugged in, when you're wired in. So I think that would actually be a fantastic idea. Like if you took the Logitech G Cloud, took off Logitech, added Microsoft Xbox to it, and then, you know, put, I don't know, like 5G in it maybe, but then had a docking station for it, and then boom, there you go, you have a console.
What I like about the idea, and this is again, if you depending on which and how your mid generation is going to look, right? I have a feeling that Sony, their mid generation, I think the console is going to look different. I don't think it's going to be as so as big as it is that
I
people
agree.
consider it an eyesore. I think what we're going to get with Sony, this is going to be different. They're going to be able to compact that hardware, give it a boost, and it's going to look different. I don't expect it to be the same thing. I just really don't.
Well,
I think
supposedly it's the removable disk drive version, isn't it? Aren't they still doing that supposedly?
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
again,
that's all a rumor. So we
yeah,
don't
it
really
is a
know,
rumor.
but that's what people are suggesting. I just think
Yeah.
I think that gives them the perfect way to release a new PlayStation at $500 minus the disk drive, so you get the bump in specs, but they're saving the cost on the disk drive.
Yeah, on the
And
drive.
then they can
yeah.
upsell you on the disk drive, you know, later.
True.
Mhm.
So, you know, it just
I
it
mean,
just
choice,
depends.
right? Like that's the whole point of it.
That
Again,
is.
it's you know when like because I was good for two PlayStation 4s, two PlayStation 4 Pros. I have one PlayStation 5. I don't know if I would. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I'm day one on a Pro because I don't use it enough to appreciate what the Pro is
Yeah.
going to do, unless
Yeah.
there's something that's just so
But
mind numbing.
that's why you gotta get it double. Because the few times you do use it, you want it peak, bro.
Yeah,
You don't
that's
want to be
true.
sitting there saying, "Oh my god, finally got this game I want to play, and it's 30, not 60, or it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
1440, not 4K, right?" Like, look,
you're right. You're absolutely right. You know,
I'm
see,
just
money.
saying.
Let's get your hot take on this, because like I said, we know Sony, and it's funny. People are like, oh my god, it's too quick. It's not. Trust me, it's
It's
literally
really not. It's
almost
really
the
not.
same amount of time from the PlayStation 4 to the Pro, and I bought a Pro willingly. No, and I never regretted it. I bought Mrs. Boom wound up buying me a Pro, the God of War edition, which is dope. I still have it. And I again, I don't mind spending the money, but see, that's not the question. We're not here to talk about Sony. Sony's going to do what Sony does, and they're not going to. I don't think they're going to fail here. I think they're going to release something that is going to be take advantage of the games that they make, and that's what Sony's going to do. The question is though, and this is where we really dig into it. Does Microsoft, specifically Xbox, need to respond? Because there are some people that feel that this is going to be a big miss for Microsoft if they don't come out with their own quote unquote Pro. I would be hoping that their next or their mid gen refresh. If you're going to tell me they're not going to come out with it because they're making what is going to be the new Xbox series of consoles, meaning it's going to be a dockable device. You pull it out, it has the power of the S. It's playing at 1080p. It's a 7-inch screen. And it runs. It's just like an Xbox. You hit the button, Xbox turns on. You play your games. You go. I don't want it to be PC like. I've had two. I've had a Steam Deck. I'm not a PC head.
That's why you get the Ally.
Yeah, and that's why I got the Ally. And even with the Ally is still very, very PC-esque. I want a handheld like a Switch. I take the Switch, I turn it on in handheld mode, and it just goes. It has the store on the left. I pick the game I'm playing. I press A 3 times. I'm right back into it, and I go. That's what I want for Xbox. But I would like the dock to have some electronics in it. Let it be a source of power that when you plug this handheld in, that's an S, it will convert to an X, and you get the best of both worlds. That sounds like a $500 device I would gladly buy. But see, that's what I want for a mid-gen for Microsoft. Do they actually need one? See money?
So it's a combo. See, so there's two different things. The first thing, talking about the dock versus just doing a regular one, right? If you remember the 1S when it came out after, obviously. And then that was like their trial. to see how people like that form factor and stuff. And then look, in the next generation, we got a 1S, right? We got a Series S because they saw how popular it was. I really feel like the Switch knocked it out of the park. And I think that if Microsoft is smart, they would see that there is a market where people want to take their game, go on the road, play it, come back, dock it, and get the power. So I do 100% think that your idea of it should happen. That being said, when it comes to the actual whether a mid-gen should or would happen, my first thing is that I feel like Sony is going to dictate that. And I mean that by saying if Sony comes out and they do a slight bump, which I really don't see what the benefit would be for them to do that unless they're getting rid of their of the current PlayStation 5. Like if they're making a replacement and it's just slightly more powerful, then that would make sense to me. But if you think about last mid-gen refresh, the mid-gen was 4 times more powerful or 3.5 times more powerful than the original, right? The PlayStation 4 Pro was what, 4.2, and then more like 2.5, maybe 2.5 times more powerful because the original was 1.8, right? And then Xbox went ahead and did almost 4 times or 5 times, right? So there were big jumps. It just was from a small number. So when you look at it, it's like, oh, it's not that big of a difference. But the reality is that it was a big difference, right? It was a big jump. So I feel like if PlayStation is going to go through the effort of coming out with a new system, then I feel like they are going to do something that's not going to just be 13 teraflops or 14 teraflops, just barely more powerful than the system. I think they'll go that 18 to 20 range because it's not really that. When you think about graphics cards that are out there right now, 18 to 20 teraflops is not a high-end card, like by any means. I got a 4090 right here. This is like 80 something teraflops. You know what I'm saying? So
wow.
you scale that down. It's a way bigger scenario. You know what I'm saying? So just doubling the number, going from 10 to 20, is not out of the realm of possibility as we saw last time, in 3 or 4 years, right? It's not. They did it already once, right? So I believe if they're gonna do it, then they'll be that powerful. And if they're that powerful, I don't see a world where Xbox is gonna say, shit, we're gonna be 12 teraflops. These guys are 20. We're just coming out with
we're trailing behind in power. Yeah,
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because that puts you, no matter how you cut it, that's going to put them in a disadvantage because every article that goes out there is going to talk about how it's just better to play it on the PlayStation 5 Pro, right? It's always going to be that way, and they're going to leave themselves at a deficit for no reason, right? So yeah. I just don't think that would make sense for them. Now, this is the thing. Starfield, right? Looks amazing, okay? But let's be real. This is the first next-gen game coming out, and it is 30 FPS, okay? It's 30 FPS. And if we all remember coming into this gen, what we felt was next-gen was going to be the better graphics, but at 4K 60, right? And not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a native 4K, right? It could be the upscale 4K, whatever, but at least 60, right? The CPUs, they're so much better. They can do 60 frames easy, right? But we're not there, right? It's just factually what's happening. So if we go to come, right, you have your Fable that looks better, right? It looks better than Starfield graphically. South of Midnight looks amazing, right? You start to wonder, like, are these games going to come out and be 30? Because yeah, we're accepting it on Starfield because of how massive it is, right? But if the next wave of games, like the first real next-gen games coming out, are still 30, I think that's where you have to look at your teams and say, guys, like, or the other way around, the team's looking at Phil like, listen, we want to push this system to the max, but for us on a console, pushing it to the max means keeping it at 30 so that we can graphically go the distance. So basically based off what we saw last time, what a mid-gen refresh does is it lets them push the one you have to the max at 30, and then the mid-gen takes what they did, amplifies it, and puts you at 60. So I just feel like, number one, we won't really know until we start seeing these games whether that's the case. Because if Fable comes out 4K 60 or upscale 4K and 60, it's like, okay, well then, no, it's just they haven't tapped it yet. And now look at us, we're actually getting it. But if we start seeing these newer games come out and they're all 30, I mean, like it tells you what we need to do. We have to have a machine capable of doing 60 in order to stay relevant. Because the PC market, dude, like this is a 4090. 5090 will be out probably next year.
Oh, God.
I would imagine. Okay. Because it's been what, 2 years already? This is not the first year. I think this is
they're coming out almost on a yearly basis. Like it's crazy
how
quickly these chips are coming out.
Yeah, so you figure if a 5090 comes out and it's 120 or 110 teraflops, you know what I'm saying? Like they're being left so far behind, and these generations are long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not planning for 3 years or 4 years, right? They're planning for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just imagine where we are right now, 10 and 12 teraflops, I truly can't see that lasting to another 5 years from now.
No, there's no way. Yeah,
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make it. It's not feasible. Like I know it sucks for the people who just bought the system, right? That, oh my God, like it's just happening. But you got to remember, they don't do their timing based off the latest person. They do it based off the first person, right? So the people who bought this 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, those people are, I mean, more often than not, and I speak for myself in saying that, hell yeah, you tell me you got an Xbox mid-gen refresh coming, sign me up because I want to play it the best I can. PlayStation 5 Pro, I'm doing it. I only play exclusives on there, but guess what? I want my exclusives to look the best. And you know that whatever PlayStation is working on, right? Spider-Man 2 is going to be fun, right? But you know that's not them flexing a next-gen game on you, right? Like I think we can all agree that doesn't look crazy different than the PlayStation 4 and the Miles Morales that was released, right? It's in the same vein, right? So it's not like super pushed. But Wolverine, is that going to be in the same vein, or are they going to take the fact that they're rebuilding something completely new for Wolverine to push things to the next level, right? So once they start doing that, and then we're in that same boat where it's like, man, you're going to get the best looking version with ray tracing on the stuff, but it's 30, or you got to do the reduced version at 60. I think we just need to accept the fact that mid-gen refreshes are just a normal part of the industry. I think they tested it last time and it worked. It worked. The 1X just completely just removed the idea of the 1. The 1 was still out there. The 1 was the majority of people who had it. But in the world of gaming, the eyes changed and the perception changed. And all of a sudden, Xbox was the most powerful console. Their games looked better, easily seeing it. Like Red Dead, if you remember Red Dead 2 when it came out, and you had the 1X version, and then you had the PlayStation 5 Pro version, it was like, wow, the Xbox is so much more powerful. Look at how much better it looks, how much clearer it looks, right? So that's just what it is, man. And I think that they need the refresher. They just need to be able to say, hey, guys, go buy more consoles. Let's double up, right? Let's get the old people to spend more money, and then the new people feel like they have even more of a reason to jump in because they didn't buy already, right? So it's like, oh man, now let me get in. I'm getting the most powerful, right?
I got a real short answer. I got a real short answer. No.
Yep. No, you don't think it's gonna happen?
No. Nor do I think they need to. I think we're obsessed with graphics way too much.
Yes.
I think there's been some incredible games that don't focus on the fact that, like, you know, it's graphically pleasing. Like you don't have all the, like for example, Hades doesn't have to be, this big,
Hades is a
4K.
masterclass achievement, my friend.
Right. It's
also the
2D
exception, not the rule, right? Like it's also the exception. Like we don't have a bunch of Hades running around, right? We don't have like the list of 10s out of 10s we have in a yearly basis is small, right? Compared to how many games are released.
Yeah, but I think when we take a look at like, again, like I'm just throwing a Hades, you could throw in like a Cult of the Lamb, you could throw in like any really like swell indie that we've been playing, that we've been loving, like Sea of Stars. We're all super excited about Sea of Stars. Are we excited about Sea of Stars because it's 4K 100 FPS? No, because like that game, it doesn't matter. Like for example, like Starfield, it does not, and I'm sorry for the people that really care about it, Starfield, it doesn't matter if it's 30 FPS or 60. It just doesn't. There's reasons behind the hood as to why that's the case, but we get hyper fixated on higher numbers rather than what's the moment to moment gameplay that we're feeling. For example, right, like Dead Island, not the most graphically like pretty game that
One
we've
is
seen,
H though,
but it's a fun game. And I think we kind of
Wolverine. I get this my early preview.
Look at that Wolverine clause. So like to me, I take a look at like the, I take a look at the PlayStation 5 Pro. Is it needed? And I think one of the reasons as to why people say no is not because like the time length, right? Like, yeah, it's been about the time of the PS4's lifespan. We got the 4 Pro, but people are questioning it because let's be honest with each other here. Less games have kind of come out, right? And that's really the biggest problem. We have the nostalgia glasses on, and we're like, we remembered like so many more games that came out on the PS4 gen than the PS5 gen, and likewise to the Xbox One gen, to the Xbox Series gen. And that's why we're scratching our heads here going, we feel like we've barely scratched the surface of what these consoles are capable of doing.
Yes,
so
I agree.
Why do we need to go out there and buy another $500 box? To me, I don't try to see it through the lens of PlayStation did a thing, so Xbox responds, or Xbox is doing a thing and PlayStation responds. Great example, Activision Blizzard, right? That deal has gone through. Congratulations, y'all. It's going to happen in October, hopefully my birthday. But do I think PlayStation needs to go out there and buy a publisher? Absolutely not. They're doing fine, doing what they're doing and making their money that way. They don't need to respond by doing something like that. So I think we have to look at it through the lens of what is Xbox's strategy? What is the thing that they're trying to do? I think their mission statement, seemingly from the get, is bringing Xbox games to more places. It's about breaking barriers, not building more of them. So, I talked about this on this week's Trophy Room. The Series S is the Trojan horse console that the Xbox has. They'll sell the hardcore on this like huge monolith that can play the games the prettiest way, but I don't know, and I don't know if the sales data shows of like how many Xbox Series S's are to X's, and I think that's gonna give you the answer of does Xbox so like does Xbox really need to go out there and make them even spend the R&D to even make a even more powerful thing to then all of a sudden get 3 SKUs out there to then all of a sudden, you like how much is this thing going to really sell? So like, to me, it's not, I don't care that Starfield's 30. It's going to be a great game, right? Like, I don't care about.
I think accepting that is different though, right? Like, I think being able to say like, I can accept the fact that it's 30 versus the system is not capable of giving us 60 are two different things, right? And there are a subset of people who are good. Like, for instance, I'm not going to play Starfield on my Xbox. Like, it's just not happening. I'm going to go on my 4090 and I'm going to play it at 60 or 120 or whatever it's capable of doing, right? So the problem with the whole idea of what you're saying is that I understand what you're saying because there's a lot of people who feel that way, right? But that would also mean like, why make a new Xbox at all? Why not let's just stay in this generation forever, right? Like, what's going to happen? Like, what are you going to look for on the next generation? Better graphics, right? Like, for you to spend the money on the PlayStation 6, you're going to be hoping that you're going to see the difference, right?
And I think that's what still a lot of people are looking for, is like, I still need to see the difference. And I think the power of these consoles are like, not so much in the aesthetic. Like, yeah, games do look a bit prettier, but it wasn't like, it's not like let's be honest with each other. It's not like the night and day between like PS3 and PS2 or like Xbox,
right?
360 and that.
Not yet.
It's not this huge. Exactly. And so that's why people are like, why do I haven't even seen what, like, I can't, like, this bastard hasn't even hit 88 miles per hour. Right.
Yeah, we've seen it. We just haven't played it. You know what I'm saying? So like, we saw Hellblade 2, right? That looks like nothing that's come before. We saw Fable, where to this day people are questioning that was gameplay or that was real, right? So we've seen it, we just haven't played it. Now the question is, if that comes out and it's still 30, if it's still 30, and let's imagine that PlayStation, which we know they will, whatever Naughty Dog is working on next gen only is going to be graphically ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, PlayStation is the king of graphics, right? That's what they do.
That's
all their games,
their bread and butter. 100%
push the limits, right?
Yeah.
And their studios push the limits. And the question is, what happens to when they hit up against the limit and they have to choose? Do I make this graphically more impressive, or do I go 60 frames per second?
I think that's what one of the things that, like, again, we get into these broader like questions. Like, the reason why Starfield can't do the 60 on console is it's confined to its engine and the CPU limitations of the Xbox, right? So, like, to me, when I take a look at like PlayStation, I think it gives a really strong example of giving users choice. So, like, giving the user the choice to say, hey, you could get sub 4K but 60 FPS. You could get this middle ground 40 FPS. It's really close to 4K. Or you could get 4K 30, and giving that kind of almost slider-esque type of quality that you have like PC games kind of do, right? That you're able to customize it a lot. I just don't know if it speaks to the overall audience of the majority of people that own consoles, just for the simple fact of, look at how many games that are coming out that are 4K 30 and they're still selling like gangbusters. So I don't necessarily feel the need for it. And I think even like, take a look at like the Nintendo Switch. That thing's a toaster oven. I think we harp on, again, the higher numbers, the higher specs, when at the end of the day, there's so much more nuance. Because the reason why like Naughty Dog is able to harp on like rope physics in The Last of Us Part 2 is not indicative of like the power of the hardware of the PlayStation. It's really stressing the engines of these games, right? Like Decima is a beautiful engine. Engines can do and have their own strengths, their own weaknesses. So like, to me, it's such a broader answer to, like, does Xbox need it? No, because it got a really powerful machine right now, and they have a really awesome entry model. And I feel like what Microsoft's really trying to do is like, we're trying to lower the entry for everyone. We're trying to put games into more places. So like, they don't care if you're playing this on a streamable device. They don't care if you're playing this on a TV or a tablet, or like streaming through a TV or a tablet. Like, they just want you to play the game. And if and I know this sounds like an Xbox answer of old, but I think it kind of holds weight here. Is like, if you are the type of player that wants the 60 4K, you got the 4090, you have the PC. And so like, I would think, if I'm the person in the boardroom, that's probably the people that really care about the fidelity that much already have that ecosystem, and it's on PC. So I think it's more of a like, what are the specs of like Fable? What's that going to look like? Like, are we going to have a 4K mode at 30? Are we going to have a 4K-ish mode, 60? Like, are they going to have it so that we can put sliders on all these things? Because I just don't. I don't subscribe to the notion of like, PlayStation has to. All right, R&D, show me what you got in like under 2 years. I really think it's until the engines themselves hit the bottleneck then that's probably the excuse you find to go out there and make something akin to like the next generation console. I just don't see it right now because we still have not gotten the games that are supposedly supposed to really show us what next gen is. So
push these games to the limit. Like, I mean, listen, Sony has done a great job with doing with what they have and putting us, a God of War and a Horizon. Because listen, if I get it, folks, if it's not your bag, and I was let down by Horizon 2, I was one of my most anticipated games, and the bugs really they got to me, and I never went back to it. God of War, though, you can't argue that's just beautiful, man. It really is, and obviously, if you look at the DLC for Horizon, like if you see it running, you could walk by and think that was a movie, like a CG movie. That's how good it looks.
And I would argue, like Ragnarok, one of my favorite games, that is, though a graphical improvement from the PlayStation 4 version, it's not a leap or a bound, but it's still an incredible game. Like, I think the best example, because I am a stan and I forever will be, look at Elden Ring, man. Elden Ring's, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I love the art style. Ain't the prettiest game I've ever seen in my life.
It's ugly.
It's a mirror.
You can see it, and
and honestly, listen, hold back,
Joe,
Boom. Hold back. I love those brushes.
It's a unique art style.
Thank you.
Their animation work
dirty. It's gritty.
It's crazy.
It's very PlayStation 4, Xbox One X esque, if you will.
So I take the unpopular opinion. I say let's move past the pretty and let's get to the moment to moment.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Yeah, but God, the problem is that that is going to happen based off the studio regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like From Software is going to do what they do, whether they are limited to the system they have now, or they have to make it look like that because they're focused on, everything else they have going on in that world. Whereas if they had the power, it would just be that much easier for them to go ahead and make it pretty, right? Because you have Boom, who just straight up said it's ugly, right? There's people who won't play the game because it looks a certain way.
Yes,
right? And
dude, you're 1,000% right.
And
I would argue,
I guess
what I would argue there is like, I bet there sure are some people that won't play it because they think it's ugly, but that game did sell like 12 million units in a month.
Not necessarily talking about Elden Ring.
It's topped out,
Elden Ring is its own
21
beast.
million.
Yeah, Elden Ring was a monster, right? That was I love that damn game. That's fucking perfect, gorgeous. Actually, I just literally kind of started. I literally just started my second run through because I never did it, and then I didn't know that you can go back so beastly. I thought you just start over. And shit, it's even funner when you go back to the beginning super strong and wreck people. So I mean, I definitely get that. It's just like, for instance, we talked about there's a difference between people who like graphics and people who can afford to buy a 4090, right? And the computer that comes with that, right? Because I don't think those are the same thing, right? Like I can love graphics. Like I've always loved graphics. And until I was able to spend my own money, no doubt. Until I was able to spend my own money and grew up and was able to do it, I would never be able to do that. So I was reliant on whatever the console was able to provide to me. And I think that there's always going to be a certain amount of people who can go ahead and say, yes, I want it to look the best possible as a console because I don't want to deal. Just like Boom, you were saying, right? The ROG Ally is so powerful for being a handheld, right? But you'd rather them go ahead and do a Series Series S in your hand and have that convenience, right?
Yeah.
So there's always that division between console gamers and PC gamers, right? So I don't think that that's necessarily going to work as an excuse to say, well, if they want the graphics, they should go buy a PC,
I'll say this in regards to this, because folks, obviously, I love the conversation we're having. We do have one more topic to get into, but I do want to catch up on super chats. There's been a ton of them, but I want to catch up with a channel member chat that's come up from Gamer by Choice, who's been a channel member for 46 months, brother.
46
Thank you so
months.
much.
Damn.
Yeah,
Jeez.
dude, crazy long. He says, I think Xbox will need to respond if PlayStation does a Pro, because if not, media will spin narratives about how games will look better on PlayStation. And Xbox is not allowed the luxury of falling behind PlayStation in power. I mean, that's a solid and strong
absolutely, man. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Can I say two things?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, Dusty. What do you got?
So I actually agree with that statement, and I was going to say that a little bit earlier, but I was enjoying listening to C Money and Mr. Badbit go back and forth. Is ultimately like the final part of the question you were asking: should they do a mid-gen refresh? I honestly think that the only reason it would happen is because Sony forced their hand, because they're doing a PS5 Pro that would push Xbox to come with a mid-gen refresh themselves. Now, with that being said, do you really think Xbox is just going to make something out of nowhere because they're being reactionary? I'm pretty sure they would have had something cooking.
They're doing it.
Exactly. And then it's like, okay, are we going to pull the trigger now? Okay, now we'll pull the trigger because this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. So we're happening. And then the other thing I wanted to say really quick, sorry, Boom, was that as far as Starfield goes, I grew up in the film industry because of my father, even though I'm a dancer and I worked in the dance industry. Because of that, all I have to say is, cinematically speaking, for Starfield, I predict that 4K 30 is not going to bother me.
No, it's not. I agree. Yeah,
and that's somebody who has a monitor that runs at 165 hertz. You know what I mean? So cinematically speaking, I feel like 4K 30 for Starfield, this is going to be a beautiful, beautiful game. That's all I wanted to say.
No, I mean, and it makes, listen, again, Simon had said it best. He's not going to play Starfield on his Xbox because he has a 4090. He has a luxury that, and he works hard for his family, right? So he does, he puts the work in. There's no doubt about it. So this is his quote unquote vice. I applaud that. If you have the means, and this is gaming is a wide plethora or a wide stroke of a brush that you play on PC. You could play on the PC on your 4090, go back and play Animal Crossing on your 720p and enjoy it. If you have those means, then you should experience a game, whatever game that might be, how you see fit as a gamer, because you have that resource. Someone who may only have an Xbox is like, well, I'm going to play it on there and be fine. I'm going to play it at 30 frames and 4K. That's fine for me. Now, that doesn't work for every game, but this particular game, Starfield, is going to be like Dusty said, a cinematic experience. But what I want to do is I want to shelf that, because I do have one question I want to ask everyone. I'm very excited to give my answer, but before we get to what Activision game or what Activision IP we want to see come back in a big way, I got to catch up on the super chats. First of all, the first one of the day comes the way of Drawn TJ, who drops a very generous $20 super chat and says, I would love for Sega to bring back Phantasy Star Universe Ambient Illuminous. It was a modern MMO on Xbox 360, way better than Phantasy Star Online, New Genesis. I put 3,000 hours into Phantasy Star Universe. Wow, dude, that is bonkers. He drops another additional $5 super chat and says, everyone, please hit the like button. Bring back True Crime, Prototype, and Blur. I like all those choices. I think True Crime would be a dope IP to come back. Dean Rivera drops a very generous $5 super chat. I've been waiting all morning here at work for you to go live again. Thanks for all your hard work. Also, here in Tampa, it's like 92 but dry. You see, the dry heat 92 is not bad. Over here in New York, the humidity is just gross. It is just it is swamp ass no matter where you go. It's not. And if you are someone like Joe, which Joe, I didn't get a chance to say this, and I want to say it real quick. Yeah. Congratulations, brother, on the health change for you, dude. Like, I see you putting out there You're showing the watch. You're putting in the work, dude. I couldn't be more happy for you, bro. I'm very proud of you.
Let me tell you, thank you first off. Thank you very much for the kind words. And I was out there today, and I was swimming. I wasn't even walking. It was so
even
gross.
even early in the morning, dude. It was just it's like sucking water. It's like breathing underwater. And I know what Aquaman feels like. It's crazy.
Ain't great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Let's see. We have Dark Winters drops a very generous $10 super chat, and he says this. I mean, since the PlayStation 5 pretty much is just a Wi-Fi router with PlayStation 4 looking games, I guess it really does need a refresh. I mean, for Dark Winters, thank you so much for the generosity. I gotta push back on you because I really like my PlayStation 5 for what it's done for me. And again, you got to remember, I have a keen eye for why I have a PlayStation 5. For me, it is a first party machine. And I know that that there are some people that have both. Like for instance, they have a Nintendo Switch and a PlayStation, and a Nintendo Switch, even at its 720, they have that because it's a first party machine. Some people have it all three, and they play on specific rigs or consoles because of specific games. For me, I play my Switch every day with the missus. We play Animal Crossing every day. We play everything else that's under the sun with my nephew Tyler. But my main console is Xbox, and it's the Switch, and the PS5 is on the third. Not because it's a terrible console, because I use it for a very different reason. But thank you so much for the generosity, brother. We certainly appreciate it here. Torino Johnson, what's going on, Torino? Welcome. Hopefully you're staying cool. He drops a $10 super chat and says, just showing some support. Boom, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity. We super appreciate it. Black Sausage in the chat, good friend of the program, drops a $5 super chat and says, technically, Microsoft will always have the more powerful option in the form of a solid PC due to day and date releases. Food for thought. I mean, again, I put it to this way. See, I'm not anti-PC. I have a PC for the work I do for the channel and for what I do that are outside of gaming. If you gave me $3,000 and said, boom, here you go. Go build a rig. It would be a waste. Like for the holidays, I got Mrs. Boom an Alienware. It's gorgeous. It's running a 3080. It's great. She don't care. She goes on AOL.com and she does her thing. And she's like, yeah, look, I can see games. She doesn't even play games on it. But that she loves Alienware. That's just her thing. We're not PC heads. Sorry. Andy Hart drops a very generous £10 super chat and says, I would love Microsoft to design a headset or glasses which would allow users to play games, watch media on a huge screen. I really enjoy cinematic mode for games and media on the PlayStation VR 2.0. Yeah, I mean, that's a good mode. I know that I know there are some glasses that you can put on that look like sunglasses that give you this big cinematic thing.
Really?
That's I think
what he was
describing
me was ADHD, and I'm like, I got that. You want?
That's funny. Jerome TJ, wow, he dropped an additional $20 super chat and says, devs need to use the tools. I want a dockable Xbox. By the way, Forza Motorsport 7 on Xbox One X is played 4K native 4K 60 frames per second. Wow, I didn't even know that. That's crazy. And back in 2017, Halo Infinite, it goes Halo Infinite cross-gen game. It plays at 4K 120. Let's be honest with the tools. I mean, but the Series X has yet to be pushed to its limits. I think you're going to see that with these upcoming games. I think Forza Motorsport is going to push racing in a direction that we've never seen it before. I'm very excited for that. Safe Space Invader drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I have an RX 790 XTX 61 teraflops. It doesn't look 4 or 5 times better than my PlayStation 5 or my Series X. Not nearly. Hard sell for me. I got you, brother, and you know because you play on PC, so he even knows. Trust Safe Space Invader.
That's never gonna happen. That's never going to happen because it's always based off of the lowest common denominator. So the consoles are always going to dictate how far that goes, unless they only make the actual PC only game, right? So it's never going to look that drastically better. It's just going to be the absolute best version of it because of the extra power. You can do the 4K 60 as opposed to,
Yeah, no, I mean,
that you're stuck with.
Listen, it makes, look, again, play where you want to play, folks. If you got the money to afford a 4090 on a rig, I say that's where you should be playing your games, because obviously you'd be able to, that's all the bells and whistles. Andy
I'll
Hart
say
dropped an
no.
addition-
Don't do that. Send me that money. I could pay off my student debt. You know,
those damn student
Please.
loans. Andy
You
Hart
just
dropped
gotta
an
always
addition-
remember, sex sells. Okay, graphics sell. Okay, when people see that up on the screen, when you're doing your E3s and stuff, graphics are always going to be the thing that they
It's
push.
true. It's true.
Because that's what
Graphics
you
are
can
sexy.
see. You
Yeah,
can't
graphics
see
are sexy. That's
gameplay.
a great point.
You know what I'm saying?
Dusty.
You can't do that, right?
No.
So that's why it's always going to be. Graphics have always led this industry forward as far as what we are marketing out there, because that's all you can see. And that's the only thing you can do to get you interested.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, as far as
And
console
that's just
gaming
the
goes, I would
reality.
agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Well,
think
I mean,
that's a bit of a
especially
bummer.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not arguing with that. I just think that it's, like I think, again, it's like what we're doing with those engines that are like way more impressive. That, like, and listen, and I've been playing devil's advocate for a very long time here, probably getting people in the chat riled up. But like, I'm the dumb schmuck that I will go out there, buy a PS5 2.5, and I will go out there and buy an Xbox, 720,
XL.
whatever it's gonna
You're
call.
gonna get an
Like,
XL. Yeah.
so like, trust me, I'm part of the problem because I love the 60 FPS. I don't want to deal with the hassle of a PC, but I really do think it's a case by case basis for these
Yes.
companies. Do I
Yep.
do I feel like this is an absolute necessity, must be? No, absolutely not.
Of course not. Of course, like I said, I don't think it should happen unless PlayStation goes and makes one bigger. If they do it, then Xbox should do it.
They're
If not,
gonna have to.
let's write it
I
out.
think Dusty.
Yeah,
I think Dusty's in a that they are in a position where they're gonna have to respond. We
They don't have
will
a choice.
see. We will see in the coming months, and obviously by holiday next year. I would imagine that one of the Sony's first shows in 2024, whatever that's going to look like, whether it's a big show, a mini show, or a mid-range show, they're going to announce it there, giving people the heads up that, hey, we have this new console coming. We'll see. Andy Hart drops a £2 super chat and says, does Panel think Xbox focusing more on mobile PC? Not yet, but they will. I think you're going to see listen, they're not going to forget consoles. They're just not. But they're going to focus on mobile because that's money, man. And the money they're going to make from mobile is how they're going to fund current endeavors on new IP and potentially bring back old IP. We're going to get to that in a second. Fantis Archer drops a very generous $5 super chat and says the problem that Microsoft has with the need for a mid-gen is that their competitor is more hyper-focused on profit and mind share, which should not be a factor. I mean, that's a great point. And last and no way least, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this. It's Lake with a YTH, Laketh. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. If I do, I apologize. Or Lakeeth drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom, guess a mind share of a Series S with a terabyte is not enough to do exactly. Okay. I guess a mind share of a Series S with a terabyte drive is not enough. Do we exactly know if the spec will be? I don't know. They haven't said anything. I would imagine.
Yeah, we
it's
don't
gonna be
know.
the same.
We don't know.
It
That's why I
have
said probably.
a bump because of the terabyte. I mean, I'm sure Jason Ronald and the team will break that down. But listen,
I think it's pronounced Lakeith.
Lakeith, thank you, Lakeith. Okay, thank you so much for that, Lakeith. So I apologize for butchering your name. It's actually a real nice name that I destroyed, so I apologize. Thank you, Lakeith, for the $5 super chat. But this is we're gonna have a little fun for a few minutes. Joan, what do you first? ABK is done, right? We can stop talking about it. What is the one franchise that you want to see come back in a big way.
Oh, can we just take this moment in? It's over. You know, it's great. Isn't this great? We're all happy
I
about
think
it.
everybody wants to move on from talking about it. 21 months of this has been a lot.
God, I
been a
could
lot.
finally forego that bar exam I was doing for this whole thing.
I love it.
I don't even remember the judge's name. Do we care anymore? I know I don't.
Hey,
Listen.
that's respect. Put Mrs. Corley, put respect
Corley?
on Mrs. Corley's name.
All right, okay. I
That's
thought you were
Corley,
gonna
yeah.
say Corleone. I was like, oh shit, maybe
Oh,
we
wow.
shouldn't have.
Okay, yeah.
It might as well be. Hey,
Maybe you shouldn't have went that hard. You know, we don't know her connections. You know, one game that comes to mind I never played, and it's one of my it's in like the shelf of shame, and that's Transformers War for Cybertron.
Dude,
I heard
my
nothing
God.
but good things about
My
that
God.
game.
So
Just
good.
walk it back. You know what I mean? Just walk over to Hasbro going, hey, listen, we got this. Sign the deal, whatever it needs to do, get it done, bring back. I really miss a good Transformers game. It's been a hot minute. So go bring that game back.
Those two games from who made them? Something Moon's
High Moon?
give me one.
Yeah, High Moon
Studio.
Studios.
Got
Yeah.
you.
Dude,
Yeah.
Joe, when I tell you they are masterclass stories, they're masterclass Gen 1 Transformers. It is if you are a fan of Gen 1 or G1 for and like you're like if you're an old prick like myself that went to the theater to see Transformers the movie in the
God.
Whitestone movie theater when I was
Stop
a
right
kid.
there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then you will be Joe. You will appreciate it, and it would be. I would love to see those come back, be given the HD remake treatment.
Yeah.
And I think that and here's the thing, Transformers, the film that just came out, that's on digital, is fantastic.
Oh, is it?
I'm not gonna. Yeah, it was excellent, but
Okay.
it's what happens afterwards. It is probably the biggest and most fall out of your seat
like
like
reveal?
yeah at the end it
Okay.
is like King David was like, boom, I'm not gonna spoil it for look, I'm getting goosebumps, folks. I said, boom, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. You're gonna fall out of your seat. And
right.
I nearly fell out of my seat. I was like, oh my God. My inner 10-year-old is running around the room. It's like, I can't believe what's happening here.
Yeah.
So Transformers is about to come back in a big way.
Yeah.
Bumblebee was fantastic. This is the sequel to
Fantastic.
Bumblebee. Get on board now. Get that license locked up now and make a Transformers game.
Honestly, let's take it a step further because I got two more. Boom, I got two more. Right?
Okay, yeah.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, Xbox needs a superhero game. Oh, Xbox needs their Spider-Man. A Black Panther game. No. We're not settling for one superhero game. We're gonna take them all. We're gonna take the ones that are important. The superior comic book company is gonna be on board with it. That's right. I've already picked a side. We're making a Marvel Ultimate Alliance sequel.
You took mine.
Right. And you know who's going to be on the cover? Dusty, who's going to be on the cover? You get to say who's on the cover. You ready? Come on, Dusty. Say it with your chest.
Who's on the cover of a new Marvel Alliance that's not
of
Nintendo
Ultimate
system?
Alliance 3? None other than Spider-Man himself with Wolverine right next to him.
Yes! You know how freaking hilarious that would be? That would
Bruh.
be the funniest thing in the world. Let's do
because
it.
if you do that, you have Ultimate Alliance 2, and then Ultimate Alliance 3 that is all in your face.
That's right.
With Spider-Man and Wolverine and Iron Man, and just please, that is the one thing I am hoping for. Give me Ultimate Alliance 3. Please, can you turn the lights on for Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2? I'm tired of looking at it in the Microsoft store and it just says currently unavailable.
Yeah,
I really
it's
turn the lights
frustrating.
on. Come on.
I've been hunting for an Ultimate Alliance like on PS3 because I just got a PS3.
Nice.
And so I'm like, I'm dying to like I want to go back and I don't want to use the cloud, god damn it.
If I have to, I don't care.
Yeah.
I love cloud gaming. If I have to use the cloud, I don't give a
No, but you don't
a
understand.
dang.
It's
Give it to
Sony's
me.
cloud. It's
Yeah.
Sony's cloud server.
Well, I do have the PS Plus PC app on my PC.
Yeah.
So I have tested that app.
Has it gotten better?
It has gotten better since PS Now. And if you check your settings for the app, you can actually utilize your GPU for better performance.
Nice.
Oh, I'm
Excellent.
going to. I never did it on my
I am
own
the cloud
PC.
gaming guru. Ask me
I
anything.
love this, Dusty. Yeah, because like I've been trying to unlock it on at work via cloud, and it is just giving me all sorts of trouble. I always do remote play. That said, though, last but not leastly, guys, look at me, okay? From Software, Sekiro, I get it. They self-published in Japan. I understand all that. It's I think Square Enix in like Europe, but here in America, where it matters, it's published by Activision. Get me a Sekiro 2 on the double.
Yeah,
Stat.
100%.
That game is nearly perfect. There you go. That's my 3 I got.
I love it. I love the picks, and I think that we could see these things. What you're suggesting are not out of the norm or are too far out. Dusty, let's get your. I mean, obviously, Joe. You said Joe stole your thing with the Ultimate Alliance. You got to have another one. You got to have a backup. We're real quick. Drawn TJ drops an additional $2 super chat and says, "Do that, but make Deadpool and make a Lord of the Rings." Yeah, they could do that. They could actually team up with Embracer, who has the rights for Lord of the Rings. Dreadful Sean. This is great. He drops a $10 super chat and says, "Boom. When I saw that scene during the Transformers, I screamed out yes in the theater. Thankfully, it was just me, and my son still." My son was still there. Marvel Ultimate Alliance needs to come back. Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, that's Dusty. That's a fan favorite. What about the X-Men one? Because there was an X-Men like Ultimate Alliance.
Like Origins? Oh, I thought you were saying that X-Men.
There's like something Destiny, right? Something.
Yeah, there was a third, like an RTS X-Men one. That was pretty dope. That was like Ultimate Alliance back in the day, but it had
Legends,
X-Men Legends. Yeah, dude, that's another one. I mean, if you're gonna get anybody, the X-Men would be a good grab. But anyone else, any other IP you want to see come back?
Prototype, dude. How is this not the immediate answer?
Everybody's been saying Prototype. Yeah,
that's an automatic. Prototype has to come back. I hope that they're working on one. It
needs to happen. Honestly, I feel like before they need to give us the remaster or the remake, they should remake them because we already know we like them. Let's remake them. Let's reintroduce them to the new people. In the meantime, you're working on a number 3 in the back end, but you can kind of get the feedback of where people are with the IP right now. Because Capcom changed the game when they made Resident Evil 2.
Yep.
Okay. When they remade that game, what am I watching on the screen?
That is a dude in a wedding dress. That is a boss. That is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And he nearly killed me a multitude of times.
Yeah. I nearly died.
Not expecting that. I was not expecting that when I looked that way. My bad. But yes,
very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Absolutely. Everybody's beautiful. He wears a wedding dress pretty good. I got to be honest with you. Plus, the guy is cock D. I mean, what could you say?
You got to
he's super cock. Yeah.
Listen, Money. We'll come back to you in a second. I just want to get Dusty's answer, and then we're going to get yours. Dusty, what else you want to see come back, bro?
So once this ABK deal is like it's done, but once it's official, and we just start getting these games poured into Game Pass, I would like to see a part 2 to Infinite Warfare for Call of Duty. C Money and I were talking about that a little bit last night on my podcast on G-Wave TV, and I'm finally gonna play the first Infinite Warfare because at the time when it came out, I didn't have the tech or the time to be able to play it, and that was when I remember watching the trailer for that game, and I lost my mind, but it got away from me over time, and now I'm finally gonna pick it up, because it's on sale on the store, And that's the one game out of the entire series that I've always just really wanted to dive into. And Advanced Warfare as well, that would be a nice game to see another addition to. I'm with the whole like remakes and remasters thing, like to reintroduce to, the current generation as well as the people that were there before to what could be coming in the future. Honestly, I mean, I don't want to sound dry, but nothing else has really been. I mean, those are things I'd like to see, but outside of Ultimate Alliance 3, I haven't really thought about it because I just turn the lights on for 1 and 2 and bring me 3. That's all I care about. Like everything else, I already know we're gonna get it all in Game Pass. I already know that they have so many ideas and plans in the works to revitalize a lot of these franchises. I hope we get a new Spyro, and I hope, after all
Supposedly
this
they're working on both a new Crash and a Spyro.
I hope you get your Banjo and Kazooie. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Thank
So,
you. Yeah.
I hope. So this is just a beautiful thing all around, and it's just so mind blowing. We all asked for this. We all asked for more games, and now it's a problem because we have way too many games. But I love it. The choice is there, and with this ABK deal being done, it's just going to get so much better. And I really just want the blue side, those that cause a stink a lot of the time. I just want them to just pop open their Edge browser and try a game or two and just call it a day. Like, let's stop fighting with each other about gaming and let's just game together. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Crossplay is turned on for
I
a
love
reason.
the message.
Yeah,
it's good stuff, Dusty. Absolutely. I think people really, the console war stuff is just gross. I don't like it. I'm an Xbox guy, sure, but you never hear me dissing. This game looks like shit because it's on. I don't do that. I play everything.
Yeah, that's so weird to me. That's so weird to me. Like, you play on PlayStation? Oh, you're weird, bro. Like, the game is there. I don't understand that lifestyle.
Enjoy gaming for what it is, and we're supposed to have fun playing games. But let's get C Money's hot take on what he wants, and then we got to get on out of here because, like I said, I got an important errand I got to take care of for Mrs. Boom. C Money, what is the one franchise that you want to see come back in a big way?
Yeah, like I said, it's Prototype.
Okay, that's
is
strong.
Most exciting of them for me because it was, I was on Gamers Council, and John Wolf brought up a great point that we had a time where people came out with like a banger game, and like other companies saw that and said, all right, I want to make our version of that. And that's what Prototype was, right? It was Activision saying, all right, there's GTA out in the world. How do we make an open world game but make it different and epic, right? And Prototype was that. But I want them to remake the original.
I agree. The original is. I didn't care for 2 as much. I like the character in 2, but the first one is like God tier.
Yeah, they have to do it. They have to remake it in today's graphics and today's sensibilities. So do whatever quality of life stuff you need to do to make it work in today's structure. But what I was saying before was about Capcom. They coming out Resident Evil 2 was the best thing that they ever did, because what it did was remind us that there were so many amazing games back in the day that so many people today don't even think about because they're, these young, like, we're old now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole generation that came up behind us that are gamers, that are into this stuff, and they don't remember that old stuff, and they're not looking for it, right? So let's take some of the best and brightest games that we had back then and go ahead and
update them,
bring it forward, update it, and show these youngins what we were messing with, right? Because that's back in the day, it looked like that to us, it looked.
That's why I love. That's why I love that we have Endstream Arcade now on Xbox. Is for that exact reason.
I bought the lifetime package. I'm not ashamed to say that I did. Man. I'm loving it. I told us, dude, it's we listen. I say this all the time, folks. I'm privileged to be able to have seen the start of gaming from sticks and dots on the Atari 2600 and the Commodore 64. to where we are now. I'm very privileged. But real quick, I almost forgot Dean Rivera's second super chat. He says, won't Sony send Microsoft PlayStation 5 Pro dev kits so they can develop Call of Duty for them? Because they're supposed to be a platform parity. Xbox will know what's up. I guess, but you heard Jim Ryan. They don't want to send stuff. I don't know if they're gonna send it or they're not. It's really weird. It's just really weird. I think we'll see what happens. But look, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. Unfortunately, I wish I could have won another 45 minutes, but I really got pressing matters that need to be attended to before it gets really hot here and potentially I lose some power, because that's what happens when you're at the end by the shore. Let's get to the outros. And Dusty, I want to start first with you because you are our special guest and you are making Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says prototype crossover with true crime in Unreal Engine 5. Wow, that would be something, right?
Fire.
I love it. I love it. Dusty, sell your brand, brother. Tell people who you are, what you got going on your YouTube channel, and where can people find you on social media?
So this was amazing to be a part of.
Glad to have you, brothers. And you know what? You're gonna get a re-invite. So just keep DMs open.
I'll just have to call off work again. Anyway, so no, I was telling Boom earlier before the start of the show, this was a long time coming, like full circle for me. I don't want to get into too much detail, but this channel that Boom has created and the type of people that you bring, it really helped me get through some hard times, and it's always a great discussion week in and week out whenever I can stop by. And it was always, I'll be honest, wanting to get into gaming news and podcasting more. It was a dream of mine to be hopefully one day a part of this show, and to now finally pop my cherry, so to speak, and to hear you say that, risky. But no, and to hear you say that, like, to keep my DMs open, that just means so much to me. I was nervous going into this, but I really enjoy this show, and I wanted nothing but to be a part of this community, just be real with everyone, be myself, and just find the real people within the community, and just associate with those people and just have fun and have a good time and talk gaming. And now here we are. And it just, a million thanks to you, brother. You guys can find me on Twitter at the Dusty Uno, as it's spelled as it sounds, the Dusty Uno. And then you can find me on YouTube on my new channel where I run my podcast. Last night I had C Money on the show. Boom. I would love sometime in the future when you are free to have you. Mr. Badbit, I definitely would love to have you. There was this idea that I had called Green versus Blue, but it's not really like in a bad way, but I wanted to do like a one-on-one with you. So if you're down, let me know. Hit me in the DMs.
Yeah, let me know.
Yes.
Please down.
But you guys can hit me up if you check YouTube, because we have the ats now. I believe if you type in at GWave TV, my channel should pop up easier. I'll try to drop a link in the chat if I can. And then, but it is GWave, capital G space, capital all caps wave. And then, but you can find me at the Dusty Uno on Twitter for anything GWave related. So it's all easy, cohesive in just one place. And then you can also find me there retweeting everybody else's tweets, like Booms and Mr. Badbits and C Monies and whatnot.
Thank you,
sir. I don't want to take too long, but I'm a firm believer that it is not that difficult to support others. It literally just takes your thumb and a click. So why not do it?
Yeah, I love it, brother. And you know what? I wish more people thought like it. Like I go out of my way to support everyone, and when I see you put your stuff out there, I will retweet it. I will tweet quote.
Guys, I'm sorry. They're called Zeets. They're called Zeets.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's what it is. That's what this kid is calling is Zeets. Good grief.
You gotta Rex it.
Yeah.
Rex it.
Joe, sell the trophy room. One of the premier places to get your honest and opinionated PlayStation gaming news, folks. I'm here to tell you that I remember when he didn't even have 1,000 people. on there, and now it's growing, and he's doing gangbuster numbers on Apple Podcasts. You and Kyle each and every week, Trophy Rule, keeping it real. Talk about it.
That's right. Well, listen, not this month. This month has been bad, but it's July. It's the summer.
People
Everybody's
on vacation, brother. That's just the thing. Yeah.
But real talk though, this episode, I came back from my little vacation, so that's probably the reason as well. Nice. And I did a little staycation. I did a little thinking, about the future. And this episode of Kyle and I being reunited after 2 weeks being apart was one of the I'm not even saying this to sell the episode, Boom. It's one of the best nonsensical podcasts we've done in a very long time. Y'all really do need to listen to it because there's a ton of laughs in there. But you can find the show, The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players, where each and every Thursday, me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. And yes, no, we don't do any of like the console war stuff. It's all silliness. So I don't like any of it, but find us there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's something called Good Pods. You can rate us there as well, or you can watch the video version each and every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at PS Trophy Room on YouTube. And like always, Boom, it's been a pleasure. Anytime you need. I've been working 60+ hour weeks, but I've been planning on calming down. So like Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays are starting to look reasonable again.
Just reach out, brother, and we'll get you on, because we love having the your opinion. Your opinion is valued, and we also obviously like hearing from a PlayStation player's point of view when it comes to the gaming industry as it is. But thanks for being here as always. Last and no way least, C Money forever. You can find him on at Mario Kart Madman on YouTube. He does a very unique show with his family, which is amazing. He has multiple shows, one of which he does with his wife. And they break down some, top gaming news. They have conversations. They have difference of opinions. But not only that, he does one with his daughter, his son, his wife, and himself. Very unusual, very, very fun to listen to it, because again, you're having older as parents' opinions, and you get to hear the kids' point of view. Fantastic stuff. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about where people can subscribe to your YouTube channel, and more importantly, reach out to you on social media.
Absolutely, man. Cool. Thank you again for having me on. Really appreciate it. Love the panel. Dusty, we were just rocking last night. That was awesome. Mr. Badbit, I think this was our first time.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Faces blur now with me. Face blind.
Yeah, but it's always a pleasure. I love talking about this stuff. You could definitely follow me over on Twitter. That's going to be the C Money Forever right here. And then over on YouTube, like Boom said, it's Mario Kart Madman. I know it's a Nintendo name, but it's not a Nintendo focused channel. We do cover gaming in general. We have a weekly podcast. It's on Saturdays. So every Saturday we have a show called On Point, the Gaming Newscast, where it's me, myself, my son, and my daughter. She's in the chat normally, and we just break down the weekly news. It's nice because we have, just like he said, we have like different perspectives. Like I'm more ingrained into everything, so I have this view that a lot of us have. My wife, she's in the chat right now, Doodle. So she's more casual gamer, but she follows the industry with me, and she has her view on things and her opinion on things. And my son, he's 16, so you got that. He's an older kid. He has that kind of youthful, view on it. The thing that maybe some of us oldies don't really see it make sense to us anymore. But it's a perspective, man, and it's all fun times. It's a family, but we talk like a family. We just
and that's what makes it fun, dude. Like honestly, listening to you guys go back and forth with different opinions, because it's different age groups having a conversation, is fun. It's unusual. It's different, and that's what you want to. If you want to add some new shows, check everyone's shows out. Everyone will be listed in the show notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you to all of the super chats. There's been, my God, so many of them. We truly appreciate them, as well as the channel membership support that we've been seeing. And of course, I want to thank this panel for being here because there's no show without a panel. I want to thank you, the chat. We had over 500 people here. We don't have a show without people watching, so thank you so much for that. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig, I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.